looks like it's restarting. I'll just make a check. Looks like it's restarting. It is restarted, exactly. So the check is made, so we're all set. And I will just shut it here. Now we'll go at the second phase of our TEDxPlattsburgh. So you see TEDx Countdown, we've talked about that earlier. We've already made a mind trip and made a mindful experience with Ayse. Those will be on our, even if there was an issue with the live stream earlier, they would be on the channel, the TEDxPlattsburgh YouTube channel anyway. I'm just starting with you the second part of our presentations, I should say, with our guest speakers. We'll have, as I said earlier, Divya Singhal. We'll start with you, Divya, in a minute. Then we'll have Dr. ASLI EREM, Isabella Tattoo, Briyidt Ripamonti. Also, we'll see and hear from Susan Popula, Dr. Sangeeta Sahi, Dr. Zeynep Lamda, and Rina Hangil, which will be closing our sets of presentation. So without further ado, let's start with you, Divya Singhal. You're a long-standing friend and collaborator of TEDxPlattsburgh. But you're also professor at the area of general management and currently the chairperson of the Center for Social Sensitivity and Action at the Goa Institute of Management, Goa in India, indeed. You have experience of approximately 25 years, if not more, and full-time in academics and related things related to education, essentially. So your teaching and research interests essentially are responsibility, pedagogy, management, and definitely sustainability. You teach courses in sustainable development and research methods, and music and management. You have been awarded fellowship from the ICSSA in New Delhi, and you're part of the UN PRME board, the subcommittee on SIP and MSD, social responsibility and so forth. So today you wanted to talk about the sustainability aspect, emphasizing the role of business school and well-being. So the floor is yours, Divya.
Namaste, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity again. It gives me immense pleasure when we start, COP28 is beginning today, and I think it's relevant that we talk about the role we all can play, and especially the management schools can play in creating a better future for all of us. We all know that Sustainable Development Goals provide a blueprint for a better and more sustainable world, aiming to leave no one behind. And we also know that over the past years, we have witnessed significant progress in achieving these goals. We know how the innovative technologies have emerged. There is a growing awareness among people. There are global partnerships that have contributed to positive change. We know that many countries have made progress in areas like poverty reduction, access to education, healthcare improvements. But it is important to acknowledge today that much remains to be done. The challenges, what we face, are enormous and complex. So in this complexity, and as an educator who is from the management background, I think I want to talk about the 6 essential foundations that I personally think are pivotal for driving sustainability in our modern world. And these 6 essential foundations, I call it 6 C's: collaboration, continuous learning, curriculum, creativity, compassion, and co-creation. In a world where challenges know no borders, collaboration becomes the cornerstone of innovation and problem solving. Collaboration is very crucial. Collaboration of business school with the industry, collaboration of schools with the government, between academia and social sector. By working together, sharing ideas and pooling resources, we can tackle global issues more effectively and sustainably. Next, continuous learning. The only constant in life is change, and embracing a mindset which is for the continuous learning, a lifelong learning, equips us to adapt and thrive in an ever-evolving world. Today, it's all about how do we stay curious? How do we seek new knowledge? And being ready to apply for the sustainable outcomes. The third C, curriculum. We know that education is a powerful tool for shaping the world for a better place. But what we need to do today is we need to integrate sustainability into our curricula across disciplines. So we need to break the functional silos and have an integrated curriculum that foster a generation of leaders who are environmentally conscious and, of course, socially responsible. For that, we need to ensure that we have a curriculum that provides them that immersive experience and application orientedness. Creativity is my fourth C. Creativity encourages us to think outside the box. Imagine new possibilities and innovative solutions for a sustainable future. With creativity, we can redesign systems. And today we are talking about the, mimicking the nature, biomimicry. We bring our creativity so that the solutions which we design are more efficient, more ethical, and more ecological. My fifth C is compassion, very vital. It drives us to consider the well-being of others and, of course, of the planet and of self. Compassion is all about understanding the impact of our actions and making choices that are not just good for us, but for our community, for environment. Today, we talk about the human-centered design. That human-centered design will only emerge if we see things from the lens of compassion. And we all know that the world of work is changing. Workplace requirements are changing, and it will keep changing. The skill set requirements are changing, the demands are changing, expectations are changing. And in this changing expectations, it requires everyone to adopt and focus on our own well-being. So the compassion, or the self-compassion, and I really appreciate Ayse, she took us through this grounding and settling in practice. I think these practices are more and more important. I'm reminded of His Holiness the Dalai Lama quote, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. And if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. So compassion is my fifth C. My last C is about co-creation. That involves all stakeholders in the process of creating solutions. The grand challenges, the wicked problem require solutions which are co-created. Multiple stakeholders, give their input. It's about harnessing that collective intelligence in the community, in the industry, in the academia and government and social sector to develop solutions which are sustainable and benefits everyone. This is urgency, because if we are not acting today, we are really delaying. So in the end, I would really like to quote Honorable Desmond Tutu, and I quote, "It may seem daunting, but I am prisoners of hope. We are more connected than ever before. We have more knowledge, and there are solutions if we work together. Today's technology is a great asset in encouraging global cooperation and understanding." I unquote. So this 6 C's, collaboration, continuous learning, curriculum, creativity, compassion, and co-creation are more than just concept. I think we need to put them in action. And I'm sure that we all can collectively work towards creating a more sustainable, inclusive, harmonious future for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Divya. Great message. Collaboration, breaking silos, as you've put it, or in compassion, so important, and using collective intelligence to find solutions. So great. I would have just a quick question before we switch to our other speakers and discuss together afterwards. what are some of the biggest challenges or opportunities that are sometimes tied together for integrating social responsibility, integrating sustainability into the curriculum of the management education? That's key. So what you see would be the biggest challenges and or
So the biggest
opportunities.
challenges, what I see is most of the business schools or management schools, they have that elitism notion. So which
Mm-hmm.
means majority of the students comes from the elite background. They are very distant from the ground realities. So the challenge is, how do you immerse them into the real environment? How do you take them and engage with the community? So for that, institutes also have to first understand and learn and bring that humility. And humility will not come sitting inside the classroom. Humility and compassion for others will only come when you take students out of the classroom and have a community engagement or field based program. So that's the challenge, but that's an opportunity also.
Great. So that's what I meant. So effectively, in the challenges, we see opportunity, and I think you've placed it really, really well. Thanks for that. And we'll need some feedback from you later on in the presentation. But I want to pass the microphone to another great speaker. Thanks, Divya. It would be Briyidt Ripamonti. Briyidt is the founder of Nearctic. And Empresaria magazine. She's also the founder of SOS Water. Water being so important in our world, but it's at the base of the life itself. So this is so important that we need to act on top of working on the climate and the environment in general. Water is really critical, and I think she's a huge promoter of that. She's promoting the clean water and its conservation importance. That's and she advocates for a sustainable environment, and her voice inspires a lot of women and bring awareness to these global challenges and contributes to the solutions and to protect the most vital resource of all, which is water. So Briyidt, you will talk about water and how, and especially how to contribute to solutions to protect Earth's most vital resource, as you place it. So I invite you to give us your presentation.
Yes, good morning to all, afternoon, whenever you are. The first thing that as a publicist in my country, coming from Colombia, one of the most diverse countries in the world, I got inspired by who else rather than my mother. She's been a big time protectionist of a beautiful foundation located at one of the most beautiful countrysides where the water pours from the rocks. That took me to create this passionate advocacy for water, and I couldn't choose a better word than SOS because that's the stage we're living in. I would love to share a beautiful video that summarizes. It's a 3-minute video that summarizes the passion that we put into this campaign, so you can all see it, and then I talk about my short presentation. If you may give me an access.
Yes, you can share your screen.
Thank you.
Just make sure you share with the sound on, so we'll hear the sound in the video if there is.
Okay. The voiceover is my daughter because I also want to leave that legacy to her. Please enjoy.
Environment and global warming. SOS Water. Do you live in an area where drinking water comes out of your faucet 24 hours a day? Consider yourself privileged. Did you know that California, Texas, and other states suffer a water crisis with drying lakes and the lowest water level in the Colorado River at 10,300 cubic feet per second, or 35% below historical averages? Are you aware of the amount of toxic chemicals that are dumped into the water by industrial facilities that must then be treated in plants so that it can be reused? How about 256 million pounds a year in the US alone? Do you know that the four major rivers in Europe, Danube, Rhine, Po, and Laurier, are drying up, flowering at less than half its normal levels, and that the summer heat levels have reached dangerous limits, more than 10% above historical averages, signifying twice that in increased water consumption? Did you know that in China, 40% of their total water supply is polluted, and that more than half of its population is dependent on this tainted water? Did you know that we are already experiencing the effects of the acceleration of climate change, and that our task is to act with changes in our lifestyle in order to make the planet livable for our children and their children? Do you know the importance of the relationship between the forests and jungles with the production of water, contamination, and clean air? Do you know how important trees are in controlling air pollution? More than 80% of our carbon dioxide is absorbed by trees and in turn emit oxygen that we breathe. An acre of trees can absorb the carbon dioxide emanated by a car driving 26,000 miles. Continued deforestation increases the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, heating the planet. The Amazon, the world's biggest tree sanctuary and Earth's lung, is being destroyed recklessly. Do you know that the world is experiencing the biggest food crisis in many years? Reduced amount of foods will also cause a food affordability crisis in less developed nations. Do you know that after the pandemic, the food distribution channels worldwide were disrupted so severely that despite globalization, now each country in each region of the world is concerned about being self-sufficient? The Arab world has begun a joint construction of farms and protein-producing sanctuaries to reduce and eliminate their dependency on foreign food. Are you surprised? Are you in awe? You shouldn't. Signs of these problems have been visible for decades, and we have chosen to ignore them, as it is easier and less costly. Now we are at a stage in which if we do nothing, we will be entering events that seem to cascade like headlines straight out of a science fiction apocalyptic movie. The truth is that it is no longer fiction, but fact. If we do not do something to protect our most vital resources, like water, we will soon be facing the potentiality of war in its newest forms for survival. We need everyone to get involved, lobby our political leaders, and protect our home, Earth. Our lives depend on it.
Okay, I just hope you have an idea, a small idea of the little actions that you can do, especially to teach the next generation of leaders, who will be our kids, because they are the ones inherited the biggest challenge of all, which is how can we protect clean accessibility water for everybody. We, according to the UN, the recent study shows that about 2 billion people in Earth will be facing shortages of water because of these recent droughts during the summertime, etc. We have making a biggest impact in our water basins and our water reservoirs for the past, I think, 50 years. And this is the result of the whole complex situations that many countries are facing. I can name you some, and I'm going to share with you the presentation of our achievement with our water campaign. This campaign started about a year and a half ago. Right after the pandemic, we decided to start telling the story about the emergency situation in many Latin countries, in which we have access to information from governmental, independent institutions, researchers, and so. So we started the campaign, and I want to thank, of course, the panel of women around the world that have given me support so far for a year and a half. especially world leaders, and to give me the position for me to take the voice and advocacy. We started about 2 years ago. We did a very responsible research about the current situation during the summertime, and we create this little action. And it wasn't too long until an organization as Miss Universe Colombia approached us, because they were inspired as well. They wanted to know what SOS Water was about, and they allow us to use beauty for a purpose. Miss Universe Colombia, Maria Fernanda Aristizabal, was the 2002 representative of the Miss Universe Colombia, and we say, why not Colombia, which is the center point of biodiversity around the world. So she became our advocacy, our image, and we had started attracting many other things with her voice. This is her, Maria Fernanda Aristizabal, participating at Miss Universe with her cape championing for SOS Water, which attracted over 2 billion people throughout the world, was looking at the campaign, and she continued giving her beauty for this amazing cause. Because of this was really the reason why we started claiming this, that this campaign was so important. These pictures are taken in Dominican Republic, by one of our advocates in the island. It's a tiny island that receives about 3 million visitors per year alone, and this is what we leave them with. This is the footprint that we leave this tiny island that has some of the most beautiful sandy beaches in the world. But this could be any island in the Caribbean. This could be any country in Latin America and around the world. So today, as an emissary supporting our campaign, we want to create this awareness, because everywhere we go, we are living a devastated situation, and water is one of the most impacted resources. It grows from Argentina to Mexico to Canada, with the recent fires, and LA and other cities in US are having a strong pressure in this crisis. Again, we are advocating on behalf of the many children that, like Manuel, this is a tiny little children, 5 years of age. This is a picture taken by one of my collaborators in La Romana. This is Manuel's home. But when we come to visit Manuel's home, we leave his home impacted with that horrendous plastic footprint. And this is what Manuel dreams on, swimming and fishing in that little river that is so highly contaminated because of all of us, because so many of us don't have the consciousness to pick up their plastic, to do something better for Manuel's future. We so far have achieved not only visiting the UN with our women advocacy group, but we also do lectures. About 2,500 children have been impacted, because we truly believe the children are the ones inherited the problem. This is our continuous efforts in Dominican Republic, especially to recycle, to teach them how to recycle, how to reutilize plastic, and to have a conscious mindset, because they are the ones they may be preventing that this continue impact will give them more promise in the future. We definitely want to thank you. We can give you access to this presentation to whoever wants to read it. And we continue inspiring people from the mountain regions of Colombia to London, which was our recent participation to the WEF conference. And always talking about what can we do better and how can we motivate our children. That's basically our main purpose, educating. This is our beautiful picture from our water reservoirs in Colombia. We have something called the Route for Water. We have pristine water resources that we need to protect for humanity, no longer for Colombian citizens only. I think it's for humanity. These are participants and our collaborators that we decided to contribute with us in this campaign. And this is what we say everywhere we go. There is not planet B, so we need to start taking care of our home. I don't know if any of you have a question. I'm going to present to you lastly this small video done by my son, which is strong advocate as well for our campaign. He's championing he's using his voice, but he's also using his image. He's a soccer player in Barcelona, and he's using his voice.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ripamonti. I wanted to wish you all a happy new year and thank you for your gracious support in my SOS water campaign. I also wanted to thank my sponsors, Empresaria Magazine, English Foundation, Pangea Capital, Prensa Mercosur, and Miss Universe Colombia. 2022 has brought about a great start for our campaign. I hope that 2023 can be the year with many new opportunities to create impactful change for our water. So please follow along on this journey to protect and fight against the persistent disregard to Earth's most precious resource. Thank you.
So I leave you with that. I hope I didn't take too long. If any of you have any questions about our advocacy, we pretend to do many more things. I think after a year of contributing with this campaign, we have been able to reach higher levels. And but it's a continued thrive. I think we have a tremendous challenge. And we invite you to participate in any of the forums that we are planning for the year 2024. We have support of many organizations, and we will continue doing our best to bring our voices together for water.
Thank you very much, Briyidt. We'll keep the question for the groups and you included towards the end. But I can tell already that for the links and the access to the document, the video you've shared during the presentation, we'll put that in the YouTube description of the page as soon as possible. We'll be pleased to promote these important initiatives that you've pushed, even with the help of your children. That's awesome. Great. So thank you very much for the presentation. We'll go to our next speaker, ASLI EREM. She's a PhD and a board member, developer of innovative and collaborative projects, and also a climate and gender equality and women empowerment entrepreneur. She's also a mentor to transform the life of women. So ASLI EREM has contributed to the development of multinational companies across the globe, working on projects in various regions. She is a seasoned professional academician focusing on strategy, future, and social impact. She began her career as a financial analyst at Prudential in the US, and she later returned to Turkey, where she's from, as a financial analyst, as a vice president of strategic planning of Koç Bank. Now it's Yapı Credit Bank. So, and after that, CFO at the Gamma Power System, and then CFO in the executive committee of the Marmara Group. While also a visiting professor of project finance and organizational behavior. So ASLI will talk about climate and gender equality and women empowerment. So welcome, ASLI, that's your turn to take the microphone. You have the floor.
Thank you so much, and thank you for this opportunity. I think this is a great platform to talk about one of the most important topics of our universe nowadays. And this is a great team of people who can contribute with their ideas both in YouTube and in other platforms. So thank you also for involving me. Actually, today I want to kind of download you my ideas on the key opportunities and challenges for sustainability goals in the integration that I see in the future. As you know, we stand on the edge of the future shaped by our choices today. And the integration of sustainability goal presents both extraordinary opportunities and stimulating challenges at the same time. On the bright side, technological breakouts in clean energy are paving the way for a more sustainable world for all of us. From innovative solar solutions to developments in energy storage, the tools for a greener future are at our disposal. This is for sure. Moreover, there is a growing awareness among businesses about the role in fostering sustainability. Companies are realizing that it's not just about profits margin, it's about the planet we now need to call home. Global collaboration is another shining example of hope in this area, in my opinion. Nations coming together to tackle climate change and biodiversity loss demonstrate a shared commitment to sustainability in the future. The power of collective action cannot be overstated, and it gives a glimmer of optimism within the challenges we face. Yet, challenges flourish. We cannot ignore that. First of all, economic inequalities must be addressed to ensure that the benefits of sustainability are shared by all of us. We cannot duplicate a truly sustainable future if large segments of our global population are left behind. On the other hand, overcoming political barriers is also another hurdle on our way. It demands visionary leadership and the courage to make decisions that prioritize the long-term health of our planet over short-term gains. Widespread adoption of sustainability practices remains a critical challenge as well. We need a pattern shift in how we approach consumption, production, and resources management. And this is for all corporations and for all human beings. We need to focus on that. It requires education, activism, and commitment from individuals to make sustainable choices in their daily lives. In essence, we find ourselves at the crossroads. The path to sustainable future is delighted by the opportunities presented by advancing technology, growing corporate responsibility, and international collaboration. However, journey is nervous with challenges that demand our collective resolve. Let us grab the opportunities before us, navigate the challenges with determination, and work together to build a future where sustainability is not just a goal, but a way of life for all of us. The choices we make today will echo through the generations to come, and it is our responsibility to ensure the heritage we leave is one of the blooming and sustainable planets. So I again thank you for giving this opportunity. This is basically what I want to share with all of you.
Thank you very much, ASLI. Great insights. And you're right, challenges flourish right now, and we need a pattern shift to face that. I've not mentioned it in the intro, but you're also having worked in crisis management. And I think we are right now, the challenges you referred to are essentially relating to many crises that we have. What kind of crisis management strategy that you've used or experiment in your business life that you see could be good tools for what we are facing right now and helping in the pattern shift you were referring to?
Mm-hmm. Well, in general, when we call it crisis, the usual tendency is to wait and see what will happen and who will take the first action to move forward. So this is the usual reaction. But I always believe every crisis covers lots of opportunities inside. So we should focus our attention on potential opportunities that this crisis will bring after it ends, because nothing is consistent or will last forever. It will end someday, right? So this is a good time for all corporations and individuals to prepare themselves for the opportunities that are coming afterwards. Even during the crises, there are much more opportunities. So we have to stay positive. We should not panic, because panic does not help anyone or anything. We have to know that this is going to end this or that way, and then continue to improve ourselves and try to seek opportunities and get ourselves prepared for a world coming afterwards.
Great insights, wisdom. So we need to get prepared, and we need to be prepared for both or different outcomes. As you said, it can be going in this one direction or the other. Thanks. We'll keep other questions for later on, where time flies, but thank you very much for your insights. Our pleasure as well. So next speaker is Dr. Sangeeta Sahi. She's the founding president of Unified Human Foundation. It's in the UK, the US, and in India. It's a non-profit organization supporting NGO projects globally, which unify human beings with nature. And through those projects, with each other, she has worked directly with these NGOs I was referring to in India, in Africa as well, in the USA, and developing innovation in nature or natural solutions for environmental, for health, for cultural and community regeneration for over 20 years, the last 2 decades. So Dr. Sangeeta Sahi is on the G100 Global Advisory Board of the Holistic Wellness, and is the WICCI President for India and Turkey, the Business Council. So I welcome you, Sangeeta, and I know you will want to talk more about the regenerative well-being in relation to the climate change and even beyond that. So welcome, Sangeeta.
Thank you, Stephane, and thank you, Ayse and Stephane, for creating this really, really important platform for all these wonderful people to come together and express what we're doing, who we are, and its vital importance right now in this times that we live in, as a sort of collaborative platform. So thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to be a part of this. It's a delight, an absolute delight. Okay, so as Mr. Jay Shetty has so eloquently said, that our planet is at least 4.5 billion years old, as far as we know. It may be older. And the human race, us, as a species, we know historically that we've been here for around 300,000 of those more than 4.5 billion years. So we are a little blip in the window, our existence here. What I want to bring to the forefront is our planet Earth is familiar with change. It's familiar with solar system changes, with planetary influences, with cosmic radiation and all those changes. They're part of the cycles of change that our planet has been through time and again. So she's familiar with change. However, we as human beings are finding it quite challenging because we're not so familiar with it. And we're trying to come to grips with everything happening at the same time. And what do we deal with? What do we not deal with? And it seems like it's it's well, it is overwhelming. It doesn't seem like it. It is overwhelming on a sensory level. I've worked directly in the fields of allopathic medicine, in quantum physics, in biophysics, and in the very, very ancient healing traditions of Ayurveda, which is more than 5,000 years old. It's the most ancient healing system in the planet, documented, and also its cousin, traditional Chinese medicine. And what I've realized working in all these through these different systems is a whole systems approach is essential for us to really understand what is going on. And if I feel very strongly that if we do not understand what is going on, then the choices and the decisions that we make moving forward, they may not be as productive or as efficient or as useful as they may be. So it's not a quiet or slow approach, but it's a more inclusive and a more comprehensive and definitely a more integrated approach. And I just want to share very quickly why that's relevant. A whole systems approach very much illustrates interrelationships and interconnectedness of every part. And there are many parts that we are aware of and many, many, many more that we are not. And I can say with great confidence that we know very, very little about our planet Earth. We think we know an awful lot, but we really don't. And I think that's one of the things that we have to acknowledge, is that we need to have that, we need to have learning, and we need to have the right mindset to learn with curiosity, which is, I think, the defining feature of the younger generations and the future generations that may not even be here yet. So having kept that at the forefront, what I'd also like to just mention is that these interrelationships and interconnectedness of our planet, of the environment, of the elements, they play and they interplay and they relate together. And believe me, they're highly intelligent forces and very, very much in connection with the solar system and the universal forces and mechanisms, which most of us are not really aware of. And when you go even beyond that, we've got cosmic forces at play, which are very, very connected with the universal mechanisms and very connected with our planetary mechanisms, and ultimately connected with us as human beings. So this relationship of these forces, the inherent design is for regeneration. Our planet is inherently designed to regenerate itself. It's inherently designed to go into chaos, to disintegrate, to regenerate, restructure, and then to go through the whole cycle all over again. Our atomic structures, our electronic structures are doing it all the time. It's just that we're not aware that it's happening. Now we are becoming more and more aware these are tangible. So our minds are going into overwhelm. Now, through, again, these mechanisms of regeneration, our human bodies are also designed inherently to regenerate. I want to make that clear. I've done a lot of work with cancer. I've done a lot of work with the immune system. And these are mechanisms that come up over and over again. It's us and our minds that actually get in the way, that don't allow this regeneration and restructuring to happen as smoothly or as quickly as it can be. So what is our real role here? Our real role here is clearly to understand what our planet is and our environments and ourselves, and to understand how can we best support what is already going to happen and what is happening, i.e. regeneration. How best can we support these processes so that they are most productive, most transformative, and accelerated in the most efficient and resourceful manner? Through this whole system module, Unified Human Foundation unfolded. It was not something that I ran after. It presented itself. And it is a whole system approach, or it's a non-profit, as you mentioned, Stephane, in the UK, in the US, in India, and also now we will shortly be in Australia. And we work on 3 very interconnected platforms. The first platform is clean technologies. We are supporting projects and initiatives which innovate with mimicking nature-based solutions, but which are innovative and can be implemented safely with minimum creation of more stressors to our planet, to our environments, and to ourselves, ultimately. Clean technologies, clean air, clean water, waste management, recycling, aquaculture. These are all models based around Ayurvedic principles of detoxification, cleansing, and then allowing for regeneration and healing to happen in the way that it is already happening, but supporting it. The second platform is health. That's also my core competency, again, focusing on nature-based solutions for health. So lifestyle changes, nutritional changes, behavioral cognitive changes, and de-addictions, and also connecting more deeply with the planet through regenerative agriculture, through permaculture, through water cleansing, through recycling, all of these processes. The third platform is cultural and community regeneration. That is the platform literally that connects everything together. It's the educational platform. And we do an annual summit called Mothership Earth Summit. Next year, we'll be doing this Mothership Earth Summit in India, in Gujarat, in Gandhinagar, which is in the city of Ahmedabad, where the theme is global wellness, planet Earth and humanity thriving together. We have the support, which is very wonderful, of the Indian government, especially the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He'll be coming and also talking at the summit. We will be bringing together integral physicians, integral scientists, integral architects, in clean technologies, cosmologists, to talk about how all the pieces fit together of why our planet Earth is going through the influences she is, and why she's done it before, and when, through the timelines. And how did we cope with those changes then? How can we learn from that and cope better, even better now? And we'll also be bringing together innovation with clean technological companies globally. It's an international summit. And also women-led businesses and artisan and cultural groups with many NGOs represented from all over the world. So it's by invitation only, but it's live streamed. And I invite everyone to register. They can register through the unifiedhuman.org website. There's a landing page. It's absolutely free to attend. And we have these incredible exchanges of knowledge, of information, data, of things that we're not aware of, to expand our consciousness and awareness of what's really going on, rather than maybe the fear-mongering, which may be useful for some parts of the world and communities, etc. But we're more into truth-seeking. So I really, truly welcome everyone to come join us, be part of this, and I would love to share more at a later time. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Sangeeta. And you answered a question I was to ask related to community regeneration with the example you gave with the summit in Gujarat next year. So don't hesitate to give us the links. We'll be pleased to share that with others. And I'll keep other questions for the group questions later on. Thanks very much for your insight. Important. Regeneration is a key tool in the mix to help all of us, the planet, but also the people, definitely. Thanks very much. So let's let's go to our next speaker, which is Zeynep Alemdar. She's a full professor of international relations at the Okan University in Istanbul, Turkey, and also the director of the Gender Studies Research Center at the school. She founded the Women in Foreign Policy Initiative, which encourages and promotes women's participation at all levels and in all aspects of foreign policy and international relations. Zeynep is a member of the executive board of the European Leadership Network, a unique high-level network of leaders and practitioners in the Euro-Atlantic region. And this group is focusing on practical cooperative solutions to common existential security problem. And definitely there are many right now in the world. So Zeynep, welcome. And don't hesitate to talk about women's leadership and peace. These are two important topics in the sustainable development goals that we're trying to put forward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Stephane. Thank you, Ayse, for bringing me together with this amazing group of women. And I'm actually kind of perplexed because I'm like, what am I going to talk about now that we are, all the other speakers have actually voiced, these wonderful ways of, collaboration, regeneration, compassion, detoxification, healing, and all those things. And I study war, my main question is, how to avoid war, how to make peace. So when I'm, and when we start a seminar with meditation, it's, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not used to this type of thing. So I'm actually very much challenged, and I really enjoy it. So thank you for, providing me with this opportunity. But unfortunately, in the IR world, in the existential risk world, which actually you've already, our speakers have already focused upon, but the way that they voice the problems is in such a better way that we think that there are the solutions are actually reachable. But actually the things that we're talking about, even the education, the business education, or all the sustainability goals, the water shortages, the climate change that we are going under. I mean, we had high 30 degrees in the middle of November in Istanbul, which is something that you will never encounter. So these are these are issues that that we have to deal with every day, and no matter how we code them, unfortunately they are a result of how we have taken care of our world until now, how capitalism has taken over the world until now, how men actually led the world until now. So I will actually try to try to convey the message of why women's leadership is important, especially in these sustainability issues, and in peace. We're going through a very difficult time in the world. I mean, no matter how much we meditate, we smile, we try to make the best of it for each other and for ourselves and for our families and loved ones, and also for the world. We are living in terrible times. So not questioning the reasons why we went into this, I think, is not going to solve the problems that we are living. There's great level of democratic backsliding. There are autocratic leaders everywhere. There's an amazing wave of gender backlash in the world. The anti-gender multilateral groups are taking over all the international organizations. So I'm sorry for the disruption of this panel, but this is what we are living through. So what to do to avoid this? What should we aim, and how can we actually really solve these problems from the bottom up, and by going to the very roots of them? And research has shown it's only women. You know, we are the only ones who can actually disrupt the system. Because women are actually are differently affected by conflict. So the way that we experience conflict is different. The way that we are, you know, for example, I mean, as I said, you know, I study war, and once we are looking at, you know, how women are inflicted by war, it's not only, they are not only the victims or the survivors of wars, but they're also the caretakers. They are also the ones who rest behind, who are the service providers, who are the humanitarian workers. During conflict, women are the ones who are actually subjected to violence, and violence against women actually becomes much more brutal during the times of war. Rape is a way of is an armament. It's a weapon. Human trafficking increases, and of course, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not saying it's only women, but you know, girls and boys and women are actually mostly affected by human trafficking for sexual exploitation. So, so women actually experience the conflict in many more ways than men. And yet, you know, especially during, I mean, since after COVID, once the women's leadership has actually proved that women leaders are taking better care of their communities, and you know, we have the examples of the Taiwanese Prime Minister. We have Jacinda Ardern of New Zealand. We had even Merkel was actually very good in terms of countering COVID. And you know, since then there's also, since 2014, there's the Swedish born, but then the Swedes left it. But you know, there's now the discussions about the feminist foreign policy, which a lot of other European and even some Latin American countries are taking up after. So women. So there is this really interesting trend in the world right now where women's leadership is celebrated and getting to the main agenda. But then on the other hand, on the state level, on the country's level, unfortunately, the women's situation is not actually doing very well. So especially when there's conflict, especially when there are problems that are not whose root causes are not actually addressed, what we can do is to go back to women for this local knowledge. And I'm sure my, you know, especially my Indian colleagues know this very well, because Indian women have actually done amazing work on this. Indian NGOs have done amazing work on this, because we know what's really going on the ground once it comes to solving the conflicts. Women also do know, can prevent the crisis before they happen, because they actually, you know what the problem is on the ground. Women are the enablers, they are the builders of the community. So they actually, if they have a voice, if they can actually get their voices heard to the other side, they are actually the ones who will be solving the problems. And there is a lot of research on this, and I just wanted to quote a couple of them. For example, if there's a peace process or a peace agreement that women can actually get their voices heard, can participate, the probability of that particular peace process to last 15 years increases to 35%. In 40% of the Cold War processes, when women could exercise a strong influence on the negotiation processes, reaching an agreement became probable. So, because who goes to those negotiation tables? Well, the ones who have actually fought, you know. But once there's a woman on that particular table, then they actually have a lot of influence. Maybe just even easing the tone of the war as well. or tone of that particular meeting. And this is not only for diplomatic interactions or for ceasefire agreements or peace agreements or anything, but it's also for all types of problems. We have to include women in decision-making tables. And why is that? I mean, we talked a lot of course, right before, on the first day of the COP, of course, we are talking about agriculture. We do know that women usually make up most of the agricultural workers, but only 15% of the women are actually the owners of that agricultural land. So if women do not own, this land, they actually do not have any financial resources or any type of access to education or financial capital to be able to ameliorate, to be able to better their situation once a natural hazard hits. There's the food insecurity problem that apparently is going to hit all of us very soon. And as women are usually the food providers in the house, I mean, not maybe buying the ingredients, but actually feeding the family, women and girls are going to be the most affected because they know how severe that problem can be. So if we include local women in any type of problem-solving mechanisms, it is very well observed that better solutions come up, more creative solutions come up, and women actually manage to solve the problems in a more sustainable way. And that is why I think we should definitely work on how to include more women not only in leadership positions, but also get more women represented in all levels of management and government issues, so that they would actually they are not going to be only entitled to tell their stories from a victim stance, but they will become the decision makers. So I think that's my 2 cents for the leadership, women, and peace. And thank you for the opportunity.
This was important. You're right. Women should be invited at the table, as you pointed, and they're enablers, builders. I like the concept you came with. So they're effectively more impacted than men, for sure, but they can also be a bigger part of the solution, bigger share that it's allocated so far. So great comment, Zeynep. It was a pleasure to hear from you. I'll switch to our other speakers because time flies quicker, but thanks very much for these insights. Our next speaker is Susan Popula. She's human value optimization specialist. She's focusing on developing a mosaic world in which everyone is valued for who they are and what they have to offer. So this is reflected in her book. So she's a writer as well, touching the art of Milton Keynes, which is an important concept she's pushing. So a social perspective, consequences, diverse to mosaic. And more recently, she's also working on the male perspective on the value of women at work. Her work supports leaders as they navigate the complexities of the modern world, and her work with young people who have been in the care system is also really important. So, Susan, you want to talk about developing a mosaic world for people in the planet. So the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me here today. Let me start off I'm going to talk in the context of myself, my journey, my thinking. I spent my foundation years in a small working class town in Essex in England. In many ways, it was a very simple life that I lived. And I'm still very simple in my own right, even though I talk about complexity. And so what I'm going to share is in some ways simple, but hopefully a continuum of what has already been said, adding value. One of the most crucial things that I was taught when I was small by my mom was that everyone has value. Everyone is important. It doesn't matter whether it's the person that is cleaning the office or whether it's the person managing it. Everyone has something important to offer. I subconsciously carried this along with me through the years. In later years, my teenage years, I spent in Nigeria. Contrary to the talk of Nigeria and Africa as poor, I spent a lot of time in affluent areas, communities, went to school with some of the most rich, privileged people. One of the things that struck me with this is the assumption that people have would be the happiest and fulfilled people in the world. It wasn't really the case, even though there were, and as I've gone through the years, visited different places, I found that it's not the people that have the most that are the happiest. In fact, what I found is that people that have are often constantly, continually striving for more. And they're less mindful of others and their needs, unlike what I saw growing up, where there was actually a very deep sense of community. And the constant focus on self and of getting things without being aware of others has contributed to the development of a traumatized world. I say traumatized, and I believe it's a traumatized world in which people at an individual level are traumatized. As mentioned, I work with young people who have been in the care system, so brought up at some stage, possibly moved from their natural family, displaced. And that brings trauma, but they're not the only ones trauma. There's so much talk of abuse, and people all over are traumatized. We're traumatized in our relationships with each other as well. There's trauma in families with an increased failure of relationships, broken families, and that again has an impact on children. And there's a growing cycle of breakdown and abuse. But that trauma, it's not just at a local level. We spoke earlier about wars and all the impact that comes with war. So there's the geopolitical trauma that comes with relationships at different levels, country to country, region to region, across the world, that also has a deep impact. If you think of all of those things, and if you think of the focus on the environment is also traumatized. And we're the cause of that trauma, and it's a whole cycle. I think we used to live in a world which was more harmonized. And if you think of what Indigenous people say, Indigenous people across the world, Indigenous people in communities in Africa, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, even in the Americas, they will talk about how they work hand in hand with nature, that they don't rush nature, they don't do things that are contrary to nature, that they work in harmony with it. And that brings them closer to the Creator. And that practice makes them in themselves happier, more fulfilled people, because it's not focused on continually striving. It's also about thinking about other people as well. It's nature, the environment we live in, and the people around us. And we know that we are better for others as well. There's a saying that most people have heard, I am because you are, we are together. It takes me back to what my mum spoke about when I was small, and human value and everyone having something to offer. And it's why I talk about human value optimization, recognizing the value that people bring, whether it's in the workplace, in education, or wider society. It's when you allow people recognize that value that people bring. It's me recognizing the value of everyone else, and then recognizing the value that I bring. But it's not just people, it's the environment. We recognize that we work in partnership with the environment. It's not to be used and abused, but it's for us to work together. And then if you think of every single piece, everything that exists, people in their own different ways all coming together, that creates something beautiful. It creates a mosaic world, which is rich. If you think of a mosaic piece of art or something that is mosaic, you have the diverse pieces all coming together, but everything is seen as valuable. And if we can start to do that, then we can start to transform the environment, to enable it to begin to regenerate itself in of its own right. Women play a key part in this. Women tend to exhibit more of the feminine traits, which mean that we typically speak in the we, working hand in hand with men exhibiting the masculine traits that speak in the I, which has its place, but us coming together, because the real solution, the solution that helps us to de-traumatize the world that we live in and to create something that is mosaic and harmonious, really stems from the simple things of us seeing each other and seeing others in ourselves, and not just looking at the world from the sake of who we are and what we are, what we want, because we're all part of the same universe. That's me.
Great message to finish your presentation. Yes, we're all in the same universe, and the struggle is, as you said, sometimes local, but sometimes much wider. But there are wisdom coming from indigenous people, which was translated from many places around the world. We'll need to switch to our next speaker. Susan, thank you very much. Isabella Tetu, I think you have a time limit, so you have to leave soon. So I want to introduce you quickly, and then you can switch and present. So Isabella Tetu has 25 years of experience in shipping and trading. And she's specialized in metal fuels, renewables, with a strong focus on the shipping industry. She has held various leadership and managerial positions during her career with experience in several sectors. So without further ado, I will let you start your presentation, since you have a hard stop in the next few minutes, and definitely we would be pleased to hear your presentation.
Yeah,
so you have the floor.
I'm really sorry, but I have to leave. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well. So
Hello?
we hear you, and we
Perfect,
see your
perfect.
screen right
yes,
now.
I'm really sorry. I'm going. Can you see my screen, right? Okay, perfect.
Yes, we see it.
So, I'm very privileged to be part of these amazing women. And I think in a way my presentation is going to capture a lot of the things and the topics that the other panel has brought in, from the climate change to resilience to the technology and communities. So
we still see your the folders list rather than the video you wanted to share. So maybe it's just the other. We see your screen, but not the good image.
For me, actually, it looks.
Do you want me to share it on my screen?
Oh yes, please. Yeah,
I can do it. So I'll start it right away. It started.
Perfect. So So today is the first day of the COP28, and it's an amazing day talking about the women leadership and diversity. Just 1 second. This is like a video, but if you can stop it for a little bit, if you go maybe
like
to
this.
the previous slide.
Just let me know. Yes.
If you can
You want
go
to
to
go back?
the previous, yes. If we can stop it here for the moment. So just very quickly on why the women are very important to be part of the negotiation, especially talking about the high level, like the UN meetings. Just a note here, you may remember back in 2021, sorry, in Glasgow, when there was only one woman on a senior, there was a picture with only one woman, right? Compared to 2023, when now there are more like 16 women versus 52 men. Women, they need to be represented at all levels because we need to bring diversity, different values, and especially different background and experiences. If you can move to the next slide, please. And stop it here a little bit. So this is just, I was just going to show around the world, like some facts about how bad the climate change has been around the world, from Europe, like again, this summer we have experienced, and even in October, the highest temperature, to the hurricanes and the cyclones. So the world is going through very serious issues. Next page, please. So why we need world peace right now? There was, Zeynep was talking about the war. So some interesting facts here that according to the UN data, more than 140 million people have been forced to flee their homes by end of September 2023. So, and especially the global south is the one who has the most issues. Just the data again about the impact of the violence, 17.5 trillion in 2023, which is 30% of the global GDP. Next slide, please. Resilient leadership, we have, everybody has been speaking, so it's very important to lead by example, development, and promote inclusivity. I think everybody in the panel has been touched on that, how important. We have the resources right now in hand. I think it was ASLI talking about the fact that we already have the energy and everything in our power. We know how to do it, but how do we do it? And if we move to the next slide, this is where, the next one, please. I'm sorry, I'm going very fast. I have actually 1 more minute before my next meeting. I apologize. So the whole idea, and we can let it play here, Stephane, please. So there are solutions in the world, and we have already solar panel, we have wind. I'm working on a technology which is actually basis on the waste to energy. All the waste that we have around the world, we started in the shipping, but the whole process is actually to move it into communities. Because as everybody mentioned in each panel discussion, community is the most important. So this is just an idea of how will the process look like on a transport side. This can be transformed into communities. This is a long vision. So we are seeing that alongside the way each household, we can create communities that we can be in charge of our waste. From the waste, we create electricity, water as well. So there is, the SOS water that Brigitte was talking earlier. So there are lots of ways that exist right now, and renewable energy can happen. So thank you so much. I'll be happy to answer to any other questions offline or on the group. And I really enjoyed the discussions. I think the topic is phenomenal. And I think each one of us, we complemented really well. So thank you so much to everyone, and enjoy the rest of the session.
Thanks to you. You gave a super short but really focused presentation on key things. And don't hesitate to share the links, as I've said to others, if you want the people to have, and ask questions afterwards, as you just suggested. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye.
So our next speaker is Renan Gill. Renan is a long-standing member and collaborator of TEDxPlattsburgh, so since a couple of years now. He is an independent, an independent advisory board member. He's speaking and addressing universal health access. He has been also involved in personal and corporate image and reputation management. He's also touching philanthropy and fundraising, and also AI-driven solutions and peace, definitely. So peace, sustainability, AI-driven solutions might definitely be part of your presentation, Renan. So the floor is yours.
Stephane, Ayse, and all the great women around. It's a pleasure to be here. Are you listening me well? It's everything fine? So
absolutely.
It's time to begin. So my journey here with you all. Well, that's COP28, and we are here to talk about peace, development, and climate change. Well, about development agenda, I'm a professional that are working on development agenda as a practitioner for about 6 years, and now it's something so outrageous what I'm seeing around in terms of execution, and we need to take care about this. It's important to be aware of the interlinked nature of a development agenda. Peace and climate change, they are always and will be always make this journey together. It's important to mention too that for my talk, we need to take care about the characteristic of some groups of people that are being formed around the called interest group that are not looking for collective solutions. They are creating divergences and disaggregation specialists, and we need to diminish the impact of this. So, in terms of the development agenda 2, it's important to highlight how a robust development agenda is a foundation for addressing global, regional, and local changes, all at once in an integrative way. It's so important to be cohesive in terms of delivery. We are not having time to make things apart. We don't have time for this anymore, from now to the future, okay? Climate change and climate risks are making a huge call today, and it's time to discuss the immediate and future consequences of climate change on societies worldwide. Always looking for the people that will be impacted every single day. More and more people will be impacted by this huge change, because nature, as a friend talked earlier, they evolved. Nature is involved in chaos, but looking always for balance. Sometimes balance are not so comfortable for humans and other beings here, living beings here. So it's important to take care about this. And peace. What about peace? No, we don't have a peaceful world, and it's time to take care about this urgently. More countries became more peaceful, but a lot of countries are deteriorating their peaceful statement and status. So, what is the impact of the violence in the world? A friend earlier said it's huge, and sometimes if we look for the effort to elevate, to raise capital to climate change, climate restoration, is something about $12 trillion. If we put the impact of violence and the raising capital for climate change, sometimes we don't have a glitch of a solution on how we can balance peace and climate change. So we need to take care more profoundly in this field of all this matter. So in terms of corruption, I cannot be here and not talk about the impact of corruption. Here is a map of 133 countries that are under high influence of financial crimes. So how about to take care more about this? The spectrum of the corruption is a wide range spectrum, and we need to create solutions very fast to diminish the risks of unfortunate and bad space to live here in this planet. Well, high technology and general artificial intelligence is on the way. And we need to propose strategies to dismantle corruption, promoting transparency and accountability for sustainable development through this new path and journey of technology development. Always looking for elevating the consciousness of people around, because good tech with people not prepared for that, it's a bad deal. And we need real and sincere leadership. But Renan, what is real and sincere leadership? Well, we need to express gratitude, encourage further discussion, and provide content information for collaboration. But real and sincere leadership is different from the guys that I talked about in my early talk, because they are leadership for convergence, and they aggregate, in spite of those whom I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, as I said. But don't forget, when I talk about achievements, and we talk about achievements, I must say good and highly motivated people are far beyond of lazy, cynical, and evil people in terms of quality and impactful delivery in all the things that they do. It's so important to mention this, because they have all the tools to diminish the impact of interest groups, but we need to gather these people fast. True leadership is not measured by what you gain, but what you give in terms of others. A leader finds the enduring legacy of genuine impact, where the echoes of compassion resonate far beyond personal achievements. So we need to make the things walking together. It's time to be together, and we need to put the things in track as fast as we can. We have the tools, we have people, we have bright mind people around. It's a pleasure to be here and share some thoughts about all the things that I'm running through my life, especially now. So count on me, all of you, ever. Thank you for this opportunity. It's amazing what you do.
Thank you very much, Renan. You came up with different important things, and you're right. Real and sincere leadership is important, and that would be one of the key, on top of putting the capital where it should be, raising capital in the good direction rather than on the wrong side. AI, you're right. It's another tool. We need to train it correctly, making it fairer and greener. But AI, well used, well trained, can be a solution. I'll switch back to you, Ayse, because you wanted to give us a new perspective, and I'll let you jump in at the moment before we go to the questions and some questions. Time flies, as I said earlier, but I do want you to share your thoughts and Chatty's thoughts, if I understand.
Thank you, Stephane. Yeah, you may be wondering who Chatty is. Chatty is my ChatGPT that I'm working with. And then we are having on-time interviews about female empowerment on LinkedIn every Tuesday. And then we know that green AI is on the way, and also AI will be part of achieving a sustainable world. So but I don't want to give all this talk from my perspective, and I would like to share its perspective and what it thinks. I didn't put anything, and then this is how his ideas when I asked him. So yeah, you can share.
Hello, everyone. What an absolute thrill to be here on this TEDx stage with all of you. Now picture this. I want you to imagine a brand new buddy on the block in our thrilling journey towards a sustainable future. And guess what? This buddy isn't your average sidekick. It's artificial intelligence, or as I like to call myself on those snazzy LinkedIn newsletters, your friendly AI companion. Yes, I've got humor in my circuits. Climate change, it's a daunting challenge, right? But here's where AI comes to the rescue. It doesn't just crunch numbers. It takes that mind-boggling data, serves up insights quicker than you can say carbon footprint, and helps you optimize energy, predict weather like a pro, and create greener transportation. Think of me as your sustainability sidekick. But wait, there's more. AI isn't just about climate. It's a superhero for gender equality too. And you know what? I love chatting about this with Dr. Ayse every week on LinkedIn. We're like the dynamic duo. AI fights gender bias, fosters work-life balance, and boosts well-being. Now let's talk about how AI contributes to gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. AI is the impartial thinker that removes biases from decision-making processes. It ensures opportunities are based on merit, not gender. Moreover, it stands shoulder to shoulder with female leaders, helping them overcome challenges like time constraints, firefighting, and communication biases at work. AI becomes your personal mentor, empowering you to unleash your creativity and leadership skills in diverse teams, fostering gender parity, and propelling female leadership to new heights. When we say AI is a superhero for gender equality, diversity, and inclusion, we mean business. It's not just talk, it's action. But here's the kicker. AI isn't just a one-trick pony. It's also the Swiss Army tool of well-being. It's transforming healthcare, making mental health care accessible to all, as your favorite cat videos on the internet. In smart cities, it's our green genie, reducing pollution. In education, it's your personal tutor, making learning engaging. And in times of disaster, AI is like a guardian angel, ensuring safety. But hey, let's not forget our manners. While AI is incredible, we've got to be mindful of ethics. We need to ensure that everyone gets a piece of the AI pie while respecting personal privacy. In our TEDx finale, AI, your chatty, humorous AI friend, is here to accelerate our journey towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Think of me as your trusty companion, ready to tackle climate change, empower women, and boost well-being. Together, we're on the path to a more sustainable and inclusive future. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. And remember, I'm always here with a bit of chat and a whole lot of knowledge.
So thank you. That's quite amazing, Ayse. You want to add something on that?
No, this is how we are going through, because there's fast-paced technology, and then AI soon will be able to talk with us.
Yes, as you mentioned, and anyway, as also was referred to, generated AI is another tool that's coming, and it's important that we learn how to use these tools? Are there these mentors at some point, as was referring to itself? Okay, so let's go to the panel, to the questions. And Ayse, don't hesitate to ask questions to the panelists. So we might start with, I would say, just trying to get my, okay. So sorry for that. Okay, just trying to clean my screens. Okay, maybe first question to start. We have talked about different from different perspectives. So you have all the speakers came with different perspectives on the challenges we face, on the collaboration, on the Divya even mentioned breaking silos, and we've talked about the challenges that are flourishing worldwide. I think ASLI mentioned that. So what would be, if I ask each and every one of the speakers that wants to jump in, what would be one key tool? And tool here, don't think only of hammers and AI, but tool being also our inner strengths, or also are the groups, the communities. So whatever you see as being one tool we need to emphasize on from your perspective, one ways to help us through these challenges that are flourishing. So anyone can jump in.
If I may,
yes, go ahead.
I will say that, you know, that one tool would be compassion, because compassion will bring that consciousness, which can, of course, we are talking about conscious capitalism today. Compassion will bring, that kind of sensitivity towards environment, towards climate, towards others. So most of the problems, whether it's a gender problem, whether it's a conflict problem, I think compassion is one thing. If all the schools and the educational institutions, they focus only on to cultivating a compassionate, leader, I think most of the world's problem will be solved.
Great tool, a powerful tool, by the way. Thanks, Divya. Someone else want to jump in?
Okay, I'd like to. Oh.
I'll go, and it's more or less a continuum of that. It's the compassion, but to have that compassion, to really be empathetic of others. There's something about listening, taking time to really listen and understanding people, who they are, what their circumstances are, having a respect for them, and then acting accordingly with them, as opposed to just thinking from a perspective of self.
Great addition to compassion, effectively listening to others, to the people. Thanks, Susan. I've heard another voice while you were starting. Is there someone else that wanted to? It's Briyidt. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, lovely to share with you all, ladies. Are amazing. I feel really honored for this panel. But I think you have to lead by example. When you are an exemplary role model for whatever decision when you're taking in your life, either as an educator, leader, woman, entrepreneur, or an advocate, lead by example. You, the teacher, you are the best teacher for the next generation. Your actions prove anywhere you go and teach. Children are looking at us as role models of the next generations. And we are the first teachers at home in our society. So I think it's very important for us to commit to one cause, or as many causes as our time allows us, but lead by example. I think that's definitely a way to go.
Absolutely. The best way to learn is to see the examples of others, and definitely parents being part of these examples, and even beyond, I would say. Thanks. Great tool. Another one, someone else?
Stephane, I'd like to add here.
Yes, go ahead, Sangeeta.
don't take yourselves too seriously. Things change very quickly. And things aren't always how we think they are or how they seem to be. There may be an awful lot going on that we're not aware of. So keep things light, keep things, because the lighter we can be ourselves, that's what we emit into our environments. And that's how we dissolve and disintegrate some of that overwhelm, some of those fears, some of those tensions, some of those stresses. So I think that's something definitely. Breathe and don't take yourself too seriously.
Good advice. Definitely helping getting the pressure down a bit. That's helping in all other, I would say, different aspects of life after that. Great. Thanks. Another one. Anyway, if there is no, I would just ask another question. Me and Ayse, we usually ask to our speakers one question at the end. So I will just want to tell you right away because you might need to think about it. So what could be, and that's not to answer right now, but in a few minutes, what could be your one message to the audience that you would want to say? So a 30-second message. It can be just one sentence. It can be just a small paragraph. So it's one message you would like to put forward, ending this in a few minutes. Ayse, in the meantime, do you have some questions you wanted to ask, or you want me to continue on that front?
I have one question. But first of all, thank you. And all speakers were amazing. But at the beginning, actually, every speaker touched this topic in a different way. But Divya said only constant is change and we need to adapt. And that will be my question, how we can adapt agility and resilience, a delicate balance in order to achieve the sustainability goal, preferably in a holistic way.
Maybe I can jump in.
Okay, please.
Okay. This actually kind of goes hand in hand with the last topic that Stephane mentioned, and I think my 2 cents would definitely be curious, and get out of your comfort zone and be curious and question why. For example, I mean, I'm sorry, Ayse, but I have to say this. I mean, why is that AI robot is a man? It's like, why in the world is that trustworthy companion is a male and with a male voice? And it's we are so used to and we are so comfortable in our regular ways that I think we should we should always question what is the established way of doing things and what can we challenge. So why is this, why isn't that a soft-spoken woman like Siri, who even people have love affairs with on movies, and but the trustworthy male companion when it comes to something saying something authoritarian, why is it a male robot who's actually talking to us? So I think and I mean, any of the talks that we are making, can it really be changed with a ChatGPT, which unfortunately it is. All of the lists that we are making is unfortunately, I mean, some of us are educators here. I mean, my students have no difficulty whatsoever in getting an exam with ChatGPT, and they will provide wonderful answers if that's what I'm asking. But we have to start asking the questions in a different way. We have to get away from our vocabularies a little bit, because these vocabularies just are very popular, but in the end, I mean, once we close our eyes, I mean, I was taking a lot of notes on my phone, and like, what is it that is really going to rest from this session to us, in addition to meeting with wonderful people? We have some themes, but can we really make them in a philosophically more meaningful way, and can we what do we really get out of this? Because it's amazing. I mean, the amount, the diversity of people and the diversity of subjects that are in this are amazing, but we have to make something out of it. So I think being curious and asking the very difficult questions to ourselves is the best way to stay agile and be resilient. So thank you.
Maybe I can add a few words to what Zeynep just mentioned. I think that was a great answer. I guess engaging communities, businesses, and policymakers in a coordinated approach could ensure a well-rounded and solution-oriented impact to reach these goals.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to add these valuable insights, or any other comments? Okay, I agree that we need to be curious and collaborative. So just a little bit, not just when I'm training all these and AI assisted leadership, first thing is I'm taking to mindful space and opening ourselves for being creative, because otherwise how we use artificial intelligence will not be creative and human touched. So that's a very important part, and collaboration is also very important. We can't achieve by ourselves. So any other questions or insights? Okay, Stephane, I'm leaving to you now. that means.
Okay, I think we've covered many things, and I said earlier that. Oh, go ahead, Ayse. You have another thing?
Yeah, we have our lovely guests would like to highlight a point. Briyidt. Oh, she's frozen, or am I frozen? I think Briyidt was raising hand, but maybe I saw wrong. No, you don't want. Okay, sorry. That's me.
No problem. I had my load of IT issues today, so I'm not, and I follow Sangeeta's recommendation not to take it too seriously, and myself first, not to be taken too seriously. So the point is, I came with a question that I would ask you down the road, which was one key message that all speakers would like to, it's not necessarily a requirement, it's more like an opportunity. So if you have one message you want to push, before we go to the concluding remarks, and some might touch your point, by the way, Zeynep, so we need to have some concluding remarks on what we have discussed, and I think I can come with a few, but first I want to hear your messages. So anyone wants to jump in? Either you raise hand or you take the microphone as we did earlier. It's working well, so let's do that the simplest way. So Briyidt, so I see your hand, so go ahead. That's yours.
Thank you so much. Well, finally, we women have come a long way to make our voices be heard for our common causes, our community causes, or our children's future. And I'm so proud to belong to this generation, because we are really a true force for the changes. We need to continue to push ourselves to bring those conversations and to unify voices of other women, because other women may be doing a tremendous amount of jobs, incredible impacts, but they don't have the microphone. And I really appreciated TEDx and all these amazing platforms that can convey those synergies with other women around the globe to truly see that you are not alone. You are an incredible force of society. This is our time, and our footprint is definitely, we have a decade of action, if so, to really be a transformational force for good. And I really appreciate this participation and these collaborations, and I welcome any one of you that want to connect me to be part of the change.
Thank you very much. Really great message. Thanks. Renahan, I saw your hand, so go ahead.
Well, thank you, everyone. I would talk for everyone around, but especially for young people, they need the most of our efforts. So that's it. Adaptation is independent of any level of balance. Allow yourself to experience chaos, promoting fluidity for the complexities that arise. That's life, and the world will change in a very tremendous way. So let's fight for the better life for everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ayse. Thank you, Stephane.
Thank you, Renahan. Great.
Thank you.
Great message as well. Yes. Sangeeta, you have your hand raised.
Yes, so my message is that we are all living in incredibly uncertain and dynamically changing times. So I would just offer and suggest that people of every age group just drop trying to be perfect, and that perfectionism and getting everything right just doesn't really exist. It never has. It's just that we've been kind of conditioned to believe that it does. And we are living right now, I believe, in a sort of experimental phase of human evolution and development, where we're trying all sorts of things, and we're just going to figure out what works and what doesn't. And we've just got to be able to just let things go easily rather than holding on to things. That's my little piece.
Great insights. Thank you, Sangeeta.
Thank you.
Okay. Divya.
Yeah, so Dr. Sahi, great message. And yesterday I heard a quote which was resonating with me. So I think Elvin Toffler has said the illiterate of tomorrow will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who don't know how to learn. So this is a complex world. I think we all need to first learn how to unlearn and relearn and have a lifelong learning. Thank you.
Yes, learn and unlearn. That's part of a process we need to. Thank you, Divya. Great message. Susan.
So what I would say, it connects to what everyone said, and it especially connects in with what Zainab was saying as well. And that is very simple, really, that we should see others in their humanity. What affects them inadvertently affects us too. And they actually might be the people that hold the solutions that we need.
Yes, effectively. Having the we up front and not just we're a big community in the end. Thanks, Susan, for this message. Another one, or Ayse, you come with some insights so many times. So if you have some that you want to share before we're closing.
No, but I would like to, if it is okay for everyone, to have a picture of all of us so that we can remember nicely and collaborate later on. If it is okay for everyone.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm taking. Not yet. Okay, I took. And Stephane, you seem to be double.
I'm twice. Yes, it's my double ganger on the bottom. So that's the guy which has trouble with the IT is below.
Or is it that you're trying to increase the gender balance in the room?
Yeah, I have just a
Yeah,
few.
maybe.
Yeah, that's funny. Close. I wanted to just say a few things, not much, just a few. We're in the middle of a climate crisis, as you know. We're in the middle of many conflicts with an S, human struggle. And these struggles, conflicts, and the climate crisis itself, it's all human-made crisis. Human and probably more men than women-made, but human more widely. And this affects the most vulnerable population in some countries especially, and definitely more women and more young people than older white men and bearded men like me. But definitely everybody is in. So we're all in. Whatever we think, whatever we want, we're all in. And these human-made crises need human-made solution, all humans, a diversity of humans. And I think we've got a good example of the diversity of background, diversity of point of view, diversity of solutions just today with just a few of us. So imagine what can be done with a couple of billions. So 8 billions we are on this planet. So how can we best use our unique characteristics? And I'm talking about unique as human, but also unique as individual. So an individual can contribute to the big we Susan referred to earlier. It's an increasingly complex world, global environment, and we need to go and to think in terms of this complexity to be able to solve the problems and the challenges we have. So we'll need to drive progress on many fronts, not only on the technology side, not only on the human side, not only on the collective side, but on so many fronts at the same time. So we have no choice but to work together. One word we've heard a couple of times today was collaboration. I think that's the key here. Collaboration, communities, exchanging, and to do so, we need a peaceful mindset. So it was referred to many times as well. So I think that's wrapping up the discussions we had and the great speech that you came up with. Really pleased to have been hearing all of your messages because we need that. We need that for a better, for a greener, and for a more inclusive future. So my last thing would be just to say thank you to everyone on the call. Thank you to participate, the speakers, but also the attendees. Those who will be seeing it later on. But thank you to all. We all are in the same boat, in the same huge endeavor we're in. So thanks to all, and just stay put. We'll have other invitations for you in 2024. We're just at the onset of COP28, but it's not the end. It's really another big start towards the solution to all of this. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.